Don't forget, you can reach the latest episode of Potomac Watch anytime. Just ask your smart speaker, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast.
From the opinion pages of the Wall Street Journal, this is Potomac Watch.
Welcome back. Let's turn to a big moment in the 2024 presidential cycle. This is the first debate between President Biden and former President Trump in Atlanta, airing on CNN tonight at 9 p.m. Let's start with some clips. This is Donald Trump at a rally on Saturday, asking the crowd the approach that he should take when he shares the debate stage with the president.
How should I handle him? Should I be tough and nasty? Or should I be, she say no, should I be tough and nasty and just say you're the worst president in history? Or should I be nice and calm and let him speak? 50, be tough, be tough.
And here's the communications director for the Biden-Harris campaign on Fox News, giving a sense of the strategy that Joe Biden may take.
He's going to present a clear choice between himself, who's fighting for the American people every single day, and he's going to be debating against Donald Trump, who's now running his campaign as a convicted felon, who's fighting for himself. That's going to be the fundamental choice that we present on the debate stage tonight, and that we relentlessly campaign on for the duration of the presidential election right now.
Kim, what will you be watching for tonight?
Well, I was laughing. The expectations have been brought pretty low for both of these guys. I was laughing. I saw one commentator saying Biden will have exceeded expectations if he doesn't die while on stage, and Trump will have exceeded expectations if he doesn't light himself on fire while on stage. People are very curious to see what their different approaches are. You know, obviously, the main thing is simply style and how they come across. Is Trump going to come across like a leader, or is he going to have a repeat of that debate where he was constantly interrupting and yelling? Is Joe Biden going to be able to get through 2-minute answers without the aid of notes, without stumbling, without a teleprompter? I think the really important thing, both of these candidates have a lot that they could gain if they did well in this debate. I mean, Joe Biden, because of those low expectations, as he comes across as competent and does prevent that choice and really hits it to Donald Trump on issues that make people feel uncomfortable, get Donald Trump talking about stolen elections and January 6th and railing about things like that. Trump could come across poorly. On the other hand, if Donald Trump does manage, it doesn't sound like he was intending to there, but if he manages to project himself as a leader and tries to pivot and keep the focus on Joe Biden's dismal record, I think that could help him a lot with middle of the road and, you know, conservative or moderate Republican voters, those who voted for Haley and remain on the fence about him.
Part of the question, I think, for swing voters that they're asking themselves is, can I imagine either of these guys in the Oval Office for the next 4 years? And I would point to a few of the questions in the latest New York Times Siena poll. Here's one. Joe Biden is just too old to be an effective president. 48% strongly agree, almost half. 22% somewhat agree. So almost 3/4 of voters think that Joe Biden is too old. On the other hand, do you think that Donald Trump has the personality and temperament to be an effective president? 53% say no, 45% yes. And here's another one. Do you think Donald Trump has or has not committed any serious federal crimes? 55% say yes, has committed serious federal crimes. 36% say has not committed serious federal crimes. But on the point about interruptions, which was a big theme in the 2020 debates, one thing that is going to be different tonight is that CNN, at the request of the Biden campaign, has rules on cutting mics when a candidate's turn to speak is up. There are going to be green lights on the lectern showing when the lights are on. Let's listen to a clip of a CNN demonstration on how this is supposed to work.
Now I want to give you a sense of what it will look like for viewers at home if a candidate whose microphone is off interrupts a candidate whose microphone is on. So I'm standing at one podium, and I'll ask Phil to come in and take the other podium. And so let's say I'm answering a question. My light is green, and I'm speaking. Phil's microphone is off, and his green lights are not illuminated. He's going to interrupt me as I'm speaking, and this is what it will sound like. My volume remains constant, while Phil's interruption can be difficult to understand.
Now, let's try the opposite. My microphone is now on. Victor's microphone is off, and he's going to interrupt me. My volume remains constant, while Victor's interruption can be difficult to understand.
Alicia, we'll have to see how that works. Maybe that will help and provide a more watchable debate than some of the debates that happened in 2020. But I do wonder whether that is actually to Joe Biden's advantage, because it seems to me that when Trump was interrupting in 2020, many viewers didn't like that. They thought that Donald Trump came off as not presidential.
I think that's right. I think the other added element is that Joe Biden's going to have a hard time sticking to his so-called script without a script. He's still going to hear what Donald Trump is saying, right? Viewers just won't be able to hear. So he's going to have a hard time continuing to stick with his talking points while also hearing Donald Trump and not responding to Donald Trump. So even though the viewers won't hear, again, what Donald Trump has to say, Joe Biden will maybe stumble a little bit more because he'll feel like, well, he'll hear, Donald Trump shouting something about inflation, or that's not right, or you're lying, or something like that. And then Joe Biden may get a little distracted, as he often does, and go off script and forget what he was going to say.
Kim, we'll give you the last word, but so far, to my eye, this has been somewhat of a disheartening presidential campaign because it has been a lot about personalities and very backward looking. And so maybe we'll see if we can get some actual policy tonight. We can draw out some differences from these candidates on taxes or immigration or their approach to the economy, other of these issues. On the other hand, I do expect it's going to be much of the same and a lot about personalities.
We'll see if Donald Trump takes that opportunity, because the policy debate is to his advantage. Listen to what that Biden campaign official just said in that Fox News clip. They don't want to talk about Joe Biden's record. They don't want to talk about inflation. They don't want to talk about energy prices or the foreign policy debacles like Afghanistan or what's going on right now in Israel or Ukraine. They don't want to talk about any of the problems of the United States because they know the mood of the public is poor, which is why they want this debate to be about Donald Trump's conviction and his other indictments. And they want to talk about Donald Trump's claims of stolen elections and the January 6th and make it about his character and temperament. So it's not just that it would be great to hear these candidates have a discussion about different policy views, but I think that this is an area where if Donald Trump were to make it entirely about that as much as possible in the debate, it's a win for him because his record on most of this is much better. And people are very sour right now with the policies from the Biden administration, immigration, inflation. There's not a lot good there for the Biden administration to stand on. So yes, I would love to see this. My own view is you look at this is I think a lot of people always think of debates as like a boxing match. One person wins and one person loses. I think this debate could be different where you could end up with both guys standing at the end. They could have both done themselves some good, or both guys on the floor in the end. They both could have done themselves some harm. We'll see what the dynamics are.
Thank you, Kim and Alicia. Thank you all for listening. You can email us at pwpodcast@wsj.com. If you like the show, please hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of Potomac Watch.